So welcome to Decisions, Strategic Alliances versus Reinvention. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Shift out of the comfort zone, isn't it? Putting words down about what we want something to be like 12 to 18 to 24 months. And I did say at the start, it's for your eyes only, okay? So I'm not going to ask you to share them. I've just given you a blank card, and not right now, but throughout the morning, what you might think about is, okay, as I start to think about the whole reinvention process, what might my card eventually say? It might still say exactly what it is that you do. But what we'll be talking about this morning is that a lot of reinvention is driven by market need or by clients saying to you, I want a certain thing. Maybe it's something you've never offered before, something you've never offered. But it's really about saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So, welcome. You all look a bit very, very serious now. So, you know, it's not torture. It's not torture, I promise you. So let's look at the blue handout. And for those that weren't there last night, I'll just give you a little snapshot of my life. I'm a baby boomer. I'm turned 63 this year. And I've been speaking and writing about networking for the last 25 years. And I started off as a really sort of bumbling, stumbling would-be speaker who was just very passionate about lots of different things. And I was running a women's network at the time, and networking was the topic that a mentor at the time said, write about something that you're really passionate about. So that's what I did. And 30 books later, I've written and contributed, and I've collaborated with people, and we'll talk about collaborations because that's part of reinvention. You don't necessarily have to do it all yourself. There's others can come together to help you do that. And 13 years, originally from Sydney, and 13 years ago, I moved from Sydney to the far north coast of New South Wales. And that was a lifestyle choice, but then I realised that if I just kept travelling and speaking and travelling and speaking and doing these crazy number of nights in hotels each year. I think my biggest year was something like 165 nights in hotels, which is a very unhealthy lifestyle. So at the time, I was very open to, I didn't know it was reinvention, but that's what I was looking for. And I was part of a mastermind group back then, and I remember being late to one of the meetings, and there were 4 of us, and we sort of drove a couple of hours to get to this, took turns whose location. This time it was maybe half an hour from where I lived. And I was hauled over the coals. Why are you late? We've made the commitment, be here at 10 o'clock. We're all here at 10 o'clock. Why were you late? And I said, I got caught on the phone. This is landline. Got caught on the phone explaining to someone how to write a book. And this guy said, just run a course and invite them all along. Don't have to, you can't be spending all this time on the phone, Robyn. And okay. So that was my thought for that brainstorming. How would I go about that? And I started running book writing courses. And some said, but you'll lose your credibility as a network if you're trying to do 2 different things. And I don't believe that you do. As you'll see in my business card that I've put on the place for you, I choose to have a photo. Not a good idea when you've just changed your hair and your glasses and now you've got red hair and red tints and streaks and red glasses. So I've got to update the photo. On the back of the photo, I have a QR code. And a QR code that links to my LinkedIn profile. And that's a good tip to maximise LinkedIn. So if you take the time to do a good profile on LinkedIn, then link that to something so people get to see it. So if you put your phone over the QR code, my LinkedIn profile comes up. And you'll see on there that I'm a networking strategist, a ghostwriter and a student. So I've gone on from running book writing courses to actually writing books for people. For someone that left school at 15 and totally sabotaged their education, that's a long way from there to now. But it is about making choices around what you want in the future and what you want your life to look like. I'm in Shell Harbour. As you know, there's a potential amalgamation that's happening with councils, so a lot of people will lose their jobs. And whether that's a good thing or not, whether that will come off or not, who knows? 6 months from now, or maybe even a month from now, everyone will know. But in that changing of people's lives and the impact that it has, one of the questions I posed to the group yesterday, and I pose it to you as well. We have different ages in the room, we have very different experiences in the room, but we've got to look at what do we want our life to look like. And I said to the people yesterday, some of whom were 40 plus, 50 plus, maybe it's a thought to work out how much you want to earn in a year to accommodate the lifestyle and the holidays and the lifestyle that you want and your financial commitments, and then come up with that amount of money and then look at, okay, to achieve that, what would I have to do? And sometimes you can have a varied life than what you actually have now. It doesn't have to be working 5 days a week. It can be 4 days here and 3 days there and 2 days here and a week off there. You can create today your life to suit the lifestyle that you want and the income that you want. And I think the older we get, we realise, and part of reinvention is it's not all about just making money. There's a lot of rich people who are very sick, and they've created that by work, and achieving. But at the end of the day, that can be quite an overwhelming thing. So I sabotaged my education, needed glasses when I was 9, didn't get them until I was 19, and wanted to learn to drive. My thought of looking unattractive in glasses was so great that I thought, well, I just won't see, that doesn't matter. And it was quite enlightening when you put on your first pair of glasses at 19, having not seen things for 10 years. Quite amazing. And my parents didn't know because I didn't tell them. Crazy. No regrets though, because we choose the life we go into, and all this pans out in our life. So fast track to around 59, when I sort of sat down and did the exercise I've just said to you and thought, okay, well, how long do you think you might live? I don't know, but if let's say I live to 90, how much will I need? Well, it's very depressing when you go to a financial planner and they give you these hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So I thought, well, I'm going to be working till I'm about 150, so I better do something that I really, really love to do. So at the time I thought, if I had to reinvent myself for education, what would I do? And although I'd written lots of books, and if I was when I was working in Bahrain, and they asked me to send a CV, I would list all my books, and they came back and said, you haven't listed your university. I said, no, I haven't listed university, but I've written 25 books. Oh, okay then. So I got that opportunity, because it's assumed if you've written a book you must know what you're talking about. That is the case. You've got to be very passionate to write a book about whatever that is. So fast track to 59, and I thought, all right, what am I really interested in? And I thought, I've always had an interest in Indigenous culture. Okay, let's learn about that. So I got online and I saw, I was at the time living at Tweed Heads, and I saw that at Lismore, which is just about an hour and a half's drive, there was a face-to-face uni course, and I thought I couldn't drive 3 hours a day. That's not lifestyle. So I thought there must be something online. So I started looking externally, and I started studying with Charles Darwin University, and there was initially a diploma in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander knowledges, and I knew nothing about that, and I thought, oh, let's have a go. So yes, you do get a HECS debt, but I thought, yep, it's okay. And I committed the time, and I maybe 2 days a week, and I did very well, because I worked out that university is 6 months of the year, it's not 12. So you work really hard for those 6 months, you can achieve. And last night I told the story about getting my first distinction, but having no clue of how the university system worked. I phoned a friend. I'd spent all weekend doing this assessment, and I rang this friend and I said, I don't think this uni thing's for me. And she said, oh, why? What's wrong? Look, you're doing okay, aren't you? You're really enjoying it? I said, yeah, I'm enjoying it. But I said, a couple of weekends ago, I said, I didn't go out. I had 3 days. I spent 3 days on this assignment, 3 days, and I just got a D, A, B, C, D. She said, oh, no, D's are good, Robyn. D's a distinction. I went, no, it's A, B, C, D. She said, no, it's high distinction, credit, pass, different system. I said, well, that's a stupid system. She said, that's the system. So I was excited to get that. And I got a few more of those along the way. They're a bit few and far between now. But doing that stretched my comfort zone beyond belief. And just another really quick story. At the time, I was juggling the ghostwriting, I was speaking. I had one client who decided that they were changing their payment system from 30 days to 60 days. Bad luck, you'd worked for them a couple of months before. That meant it was going to be another 90 days. So financial pressure was intense. I was working with a fiction author who was doing a murder mystery, and she kept switching who was the murderer. That was a real challenge because that was totally mucking up the flow of where this person was, and they couldn't be there because, crazy. And I had a uni assignment due. And I was sitting there this day, and I started to get itch on the back of my leg, and it was back, and I ended up with hives from all up the back, all up my back, my neck, my arms. And I thought, I don't know if this is measles, what is it? And it was a stress hive, that's all it was. And I thought, well, there's no point going to the doctor because I know what, I've created this because I'm stressed about so-and-so not paying the money, I'm stressed about this crazy author, I'm stressed about this university. Okay, so what are you going to do? You know you've created this. So I went to the acupuncturist and I said, look, I'm a bit stressed at the moment, so he gave me all this concoction and a few needles here and there. Within a couple of days I was fine. But that's what we create with that part of reinvention. So the point of the story is reinvention can be difficult, absolutely difficult, but it's so worth it. Do you believe me?